Hey y'all, today we are going to do another face painting and we are going to do something a little bit scarier. We are going to do Pennywise the Clown from It. Let's get started. First, we need to make his face look like Pennywise, like he has a mask on. So we're going to paint it the clown white. We're just going to go in with this spray. It's pretty much just like water. And we're going to take this palette and just put it all over his face, blending it in. We're going to try to not get it in the hair. If that happens, it adds just to the look. Okay, so we're going to make sure to not try to get it in. If you're doing it on yourself, you don't want to get it in your own hair or whoever you're doing it on. Try not to get it in their hair. I do not think they would prefer to have this paint in it, but feel free to get it in their eyebrows because we are going to draw over these eyebrows. And make sure to blend it in really well. If you want it to look more textured, you can leave it textured, kind of like how I am, but also too trying to make sure I don't have any harsh lines near the hairline. You want to continue until you have the whole face solid white. You may have to go in a little bit with your water and redampen the palette cake a little bit, but that is totally fine. You just want to make sure to make it very opaque. You can turn your head back. And like I said, don't be shy to get it all in the lashes, on the eyebrows, because we will end up repainting those on anyway. And make sure to get around the nose area and in the eyes. That can be a hard spot to blend. So just make sure to really get it in there and cover it all really well. And one thing that can be an issue when working with white paint is you don't always get it the most opaque because it is white going on human skin. So if you have to do a couple layers, that is totally fine. That will work. Just make sure that you get it to the color you want. And if you want it super bright white, that is totally fine. If you want it lighter, you can make it lighter. It's just make sure you get it to the darkness you would like. And as we're finishing up, just make sure to really blend it in, especially around the jawline. You can take it further down. Today we're just going to keep it on the face, but if you wanted to, you could take it further down onto the neck. Also, while doing this, I'm trying to avoid the lips. We will end up painting those a red color. So just try to avoid that, but make sure to get pretty much in every nook and crevice on the face. Also, whenever you're blending, make sure to pat it instead of like rub it. If you rub it, it can cause streak marks. And for this look, you do not want that. Okay, so now once we have painted his face white, we are going to go in with this black. And we are going to take the other side of our sponge and go around his eyes and make it a darker color, just like Pennywise. So just kind of blend that in like this. With this, I personally prefer it to be lighter than black, just kind of like a gray color. So it can just give that creepy effect. You don't want it to be stark black, but then you also want it to have that contrast. And if you need to, you can follow up with the white paint and try to make it more controlled, like I am now. So I'm still getting the look of the black paint and that textured, creepy look without having it all over the face. Once we have his eyes pretty much blacked, we are going to go in with a fine liner brush and some red paint. This is so that we can paint on the red lips, the red nose, and then do the signature lines of Pennywise the Clown. So first we're going to paint the tip of his nose. This may feel odd if you're doing it to somebody else. It may just feel weird painting somebody's nose, but it gets the look done, and you have to make sure to make the look complete. And depending on the person's nose shape depends on how it's going to look. You don't want it to look overly red, like the whole nose is red. You just want the tip of it to be red. And just make sure to like fully cover it. Okay, now that we have the tip of his nose red, we are going to overline his lips quite a bit to give him the clown looking lips. If this part, you get a little bit of creative freedom on how big or how small you want to make the lips look. I personally want them to get the big clown look to them. So I'm going to definitely overline them quite a bit and just fill them in. Again, same with the white. You can make this as opaque as you would like it, or as more of a pink tone with it mixing with the white. I'm trying to get it as opaque as possible, but that just comes down to personal preference. Make sure to fill in the lips as well. Try not to get it in their mouth, because you want the lips to actually look like they're that large. And while you're doing this, something that I do with this brush specifically is I go to the corners and kind of round it up so that it can connect directly to the lines that we are about to paint. So now, the part that is the most, I would say almost tedious, but it's not hard, is making sure to paint the lines. With his lines, I start at the top and I take it all the way down. And with this, you're going to use a lot of that red coloring. So just be ready for that. You are probably going to have to dip into your red a couple of times. And if you find that your black has not set all the way, the good thing about it is that it is water-based and it dries super quickly. So first, I make sure to get these first initial lines, and you want them to be as even as possible. Just so that then you can take them down to the mouth and round them out just like Pennywise. Okay, so now that I've taken it down for the straight lines, what we're gonna do is now create the iconic rounded out figure around the mouth. So I'm gonna again wet my cake and make sure that I have enough paint on my brush, because I want to kind of do this in one motion. So I want to take this line that I initially created, bellow it out, and then bring it directly in. And then just kind of go over that a little bit. Again, we're gonna do that on the other side. So I'm gonna re-wet the cake and make sure to get as much paint on it as possible. And then take that line I've already created, take it out, and then in. So you can stop right there, or you can take a little bit of the black that we were using on a sponge and create a little bit of the texture. So if you don't mind, will you scrunch up your forehead? No, your forehead.
Yeah.
Like that, to show the forehead wrinkles. And we're gonna take this black and make sure to, no, go up. There we go.
Oh, I see. Like stretch it out.
And we're just gonna add a few lines where Pennywise would have wrinkles. And again, with this, you don't want your cake super wet because you don't want it to be super opaque. You just want to have a little bit of texture there. And then we're just going to take a little bit of this and add a few just dabs of texture on the cheeks. Alrighty, and there you have it. It's a simple way to create a scary look.